So you finished with your recording and now you have these files, and they may have some wacky names, and let's just say they're all thrown on your desktop. Don't leave them there. We are going to talk about how you can store and organize your files, and this will help you immensely, especially if you become a serial podcaster, meaning you start with one show and then you love it so much you create another show, and before you know it, you're like me and you have 5 shows, and it can be very confusing what you do with all your files, right? But having a labeling system and a way to organize your files is so important. So I'm going to walk you through some tips and things that I've learned in the past to give you some ideas of what you could do with your own show. My first big tip is that you purchase a hard drive to keep all of your podcast information on, and make sure it is just for your podcast. Now, this is my favorite. This is Western Digital. It's called a My Passport, and I'll include a link to it. They have it in every color. You can match every outfit that's in your closet if you would like to, but I love this. And I'll go ahead and show it to you over here so you can kind of see what we're looking at here. So it's very compact. It's great for travel. I believe this is a couple terabytes, so it can hold a ton of information, but you can get My Passports that hold upward, I think, of 5 terabytes. 5 terabytes on this little thing. You're gonna pay a little bit more money, but it's totally worth it. Super convenient. It's USB, so you just plug it into your computer and then you store all your files here on your little hard drive. But how do you store it? And how do you label things? How do you do this? So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I organize files on my laptop, and hopefully it'll give you some ideas on what you can do with yours. So when I open this up, there's a bunch of podcasts on here. I'm going to select the one called Preggy Pals. That's my podcast focused on pregnancy. And what do you notice right away? Something should just jump out at you. That's my naming scheme. My naming scheme for Preggy Pals is the letter P, and then whatever the folder contains, right? And I do that because it's Preggy Pals, and I really, I just use the first letter of each word, right? But it helps me keep track of that. So if I need to search for something on my computer, I know that any Preggy Pals folder begins with the letters P, and then whatever the folder is about. So let me show you what is in some of these folders. Episode images. This is the image that I've chosen for each episode, and I keep it really simple. I basically use stock images, and I don't include any other text or anything like that. But I've gone through and I'm still keeping with the same format. PP and 001 is the image that's part of the first episode I did. 002, the second episode, and on, right? So all of my images are here. And then if I go to episodes, you can see I have all of my final version of my episodes. My editor usually keeps the raw files, but I have all of the episodes in, it automatically goes in chronological order depending on how you titled these. But it's just so important. It's so important to be able to see this at a glance. All the logos for the show. So I've got my cover art and just the regular logo that goes along with that. I've got my planning documents. I've got folders regarding promotion and partnerships. I have scripts. So these are all of my scripts. And I actually did this in addition to keeping the script available on Google Docs, because I think that's a great way. I told you guys this in another video. That's a great way to share with your guests when you're about to record an episode, is to send them a link to a Google Doc so they can make changes, you can make changes. But this is a backup. I keep a backup on here because I don't want to lose those scripts. I don't want anything to happen to the scripts. And then I also have transcripts. But you can have whatever you want to. And I follow this format each time I launch a new podcast, and it has simplified everything for me. The last thing you want is to finish a recording and you just dump the files on your desktop, especially if you're doing bulk recording, right? You're dumping all the files on your desktop, and sooner or later you're like, does this go with this? Or I don't even know what episode this belongs to. So once you get done recording, make sure you create the proper folders, make sure you're titling everything, make sure you're keeping track of everything in a Google Sheet. Again, I've created templates for all of this for you. It is just so important to stay organized. You will save yourself so much heartache and be so much happier in the long run.